Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. Stare Down greatness. And man, did we have some greatness this weekend. Saturday slate was amazing. Sunday slate had some bangers. I mean, it was truly another great weekend of football. And man, we're officially a month into the season. We're starting to finally figure out who some of these teams are. We're starting to figure out who some of the contenders might not be. And hey, there's some teams, they might just have some magic. So we got a lot to discuss today. So without any further ado, we're going to start off with some NFL, and then we'll we'll basically talk some NFL, go over the games, recap all that stuff, go over some injury, go over some news. Then we'll go discuss some of the college games that I have my eyes on this weekend, and some of the games that are going to matter potentially coming down to the season, and then we'll go over the top 25. And then potentially today, not fully for sure, but at least starting next week for sure, we're going to start looking at some of the betting odds and the futures market towards the end of the NFL section, and we'll just look at like Heisman, that's for college. We're going to look at, MVP, Super Bowl odds, just to kind of see like who the sportsbook thinks are moving on, and maybe, just maybe, we might end up finding something after looking, but that's just simply just to look, just to get kind of a sense of like, okay, these are kind of the guys that are in that category. But like I said, no idea if we're doing that today. It's probably going to be for next week, but let's get into it. Man, like I said, there were some really fun games. Thursday night started off with Cardinals-Seahawks. That was a blast. Seahawks ended up winning that one barely winning it, but they ended up winning it. It was a score of 23-20. About to say 30. 23-20. They got a 52-yard field goal to win it, but it was a decent game. Arizona scores 14 points in the second quarter, and they scored with 28 seconds left. So, like, you're sitting there, and they tied it up. It's like, oh, man. I won't lie to you. As a guy who, like, was looking forward to going to bed, it's like, man, we're going to have overtime? And then the Seahawks ended up getting a decent return, ended up getting to kick a field goal with 4 seconds left. They ended up winning the game. Awesome win for the Seahawks. What was awesome for the Cardinals, see Marvin Harrison come back. He had an awesome game, and it's nice just to see some flashes. That was a guy that, like, he really, really needed that. And it was just on a human level, that was a fun thing to root for, to be like, all right, it's nice to see this dude kind of get some confidence back, because early it was kind of looking shaky, and it was looking like, oh no, he's in his head really, really bad. But then, like I said, he ends up coming back, making some great plays. What did he end up finishing with? He had six receptions for 66 and a touchdown. By far not the most amazing game, but one of those games where it's like, okay, starting to get his confidence back, starting to make some plays. Hopefully honestly, I just don't think him and Kyler work out. I just think he needs another system. It just seems like, I just think it's a fit thing. Like, I don't know if it's a talent thing. I just don't think he's a good fit for the Cardinals personally, but I mean, hey, maybe he's able to turn around. It could just be like, maybe they're just off and they need some chemistry, but who knows? I genuinely have no idea, but regardless, Seahawks are able to win it. Awesome win for them, because now they improved to 3-1. They're now second in the division. Cardinals go to 2-2 and drop to fourth now. Yeah, that was just one of those games where it's like, that's an awesome division win. If you're on the other side, it's like, man, that's a tough one to lose. For the morning game, we had the Steelers taking on the Vikings in Dublin. The Steelers come out on top with a 24-21 win. Aaron Rodgers had a strike to DK Metcalf that went for 80 yards. That put them up 14-0, and then that was basically the game from there. Carson Wentz was just put under absolute hell all game, and I mean, that game made me remember when Carson Wentz was the quarterback for the Colts. It's like, man, am I glad to be out of that business. Because, boy, I mean, he has some exciting plays, but then there's plays where it's like he ducks under one guy, basically flips, like, I don't know if he meant to do it, but he ducks under one guy, kind of flips him over. That guy does basically a flip. The next guy goes to sack him. As he loses it, the ball just squirts out like 10, 15 feet the other direction. I mean, it was just full Carson Wentz experience. He would have some amazing plays, and he would just float it out the back of the end zone. That was almost picked. It's just like, what is he doing? Like, it was, Carson Wentz was fully unleashed in this game. That's the best way to put it. I mean, that dude was just acting wild out there. And as for the Steelers, it's one of Aaron Rodgers' better games of his, I don't want to say career, let me be honest, better games of his Steeler tenure. He was 18 for 22 for 200 and a touchdown. I mean, they were just in control. Kenneth Gainwell had 19 carries for 99 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, like I said, the Steelers were just in absolute control of this game from the jump, and it basically just put the Vikings in a bad spot. The Vikings just were able to do what's been happening a lot in the NFL games, where they score 15 points in the fourth quarter and they make a comeback, or they score points in the third. I mean, a lot of these NFL games, it's just crazy how Starts looking like it's going to be a blowout. All of a sudden, one team scores like 2-3 touchdowns in the third or fourth quarter, and it's like, hey, it's a one-score game again out of nowhere. And that was, we're going to talk about another game that was like that, Vikings-Eagles, here soon. And, yeah, it's just, I don't know what to think of the Vikings officially, especially with Carson Wentz starting, because first game it's like, okay, let's keep him in. Now it's like, all right, so maybe JJ should go back in, okay. I'm kind of, I don't know where I'm to that point at with the Vikings. I'd probably say they just keep JJ in at this point, especially if Carson Wentz is going to play that erratic. But now they have another game, I believe, in London against the Browns next week. But yeah, that was an awesome win for the Steelers. Now on a bye, and they're 3-1, and they need to keep winning because I believe they have the second hardest. I believe it's the second hardest I heard schedule the rest of the season. And yeah, they got a bunch of old men on their roster, so while they might be veterans, I mean, early bye does not help them at all. That's for sure. But yeah, like I said, they might be a veteran group, but that second hardest schedule might end up eating them alive. I mean, we'll have to see though. Some of these teams, like we're gonna talk about the Ravens in a minute. Some of these teams are just getting eaten alive by injuries. So if the Steelers can keep playing ball like this, I mean, hey, they might be able to win 1 or 2 games in the playoffs. Maybe, just maybe. Bills end up winning 31-19 against the Saints. Scores kind of misleading. The Saints were actually, it was weird. Spencer Rattler played okay, but his stats were kind of bad. I mean, he was 18 for 27 for 126 yards. I mean, the run game is absolutely there. I mean, the Saints offense just felt like, it literally felt like every time I looked over at the game, the Saints had the ball and they were moving. It's like, how do they keep having the ball? And you look over, Bills would make 1 or 2 plays. Look back, it's like, how does the Saints have the ball again? And yet, like I said, so obviously the all spread of minus 29.5 did not cover. I didn't even end up taking it, won't lie. And I did take minus 9.5 live at some point, which was nice. But, like I said, this was just it's impressive. Rattler, I mean, he's not horrible, but he's not amazing. It's weird. But he continues to not be able to win games, which just sucks. He's not a bad player, that's for sure. Spencer Rattler is not a bad player at all. I just don't know what to make of it because this dude just can't win games. I'm not saying it's all his fault. It's just like, look at his record. He just doesn't win games. It's crazy. He'll play somewhat okay, play decent. Like I said, the Saints were in this game for majority of the day, and I mean, I think most of us can agree we didn't think they were going to win, but that's weird. But as for Josh Allen, just another good game for him. James Cook, he's just amazing. There's some news with MCL sprain. Braylon Allen just went to the injury reserve. We'll talk about that more when we get to the Jets game if I remember, but just in case I don't, yeah. He suffered an MCL sprain, they'll put him in injury reserve. That's tough for the Jets, but good for anyone who has some Breece Hall stock in fantasy. Not the way you want to get it, but hey, Breece Hall fantasy manager's probably going to be at least happy that he might be able to get a few more touches, because I won't lie, Braylon Allen was eating into him, because that dude was playing good. That sucked that he got hurt, because he was running all over the Dolphins at first. But yeah, like I said, Bills played really good. James Cook is just a really good running back. He might be one of the best running backs in the league, honestly, at this point. I mean, he is just so good. Texans, they won 26-0 against the Titans. They just got absolutely shut out. Cam Ward was pissed after the game. I mean, offensively, the Texans didn't look the greatest still, but defensively, their team is legit. So, I mean, yeah, that's all we really need to talk about this game. I mean, the Titans just stink. Brian Callahan, good chance he's, like I said, probably going to get fired at this point. If he doesn't, I mean, that's going to be shocking, in my opinion, honestly. I mean, just nothing's going right down there. They're about to get a coaching overhaul because, yeah, Cam Ward has the talent. It's just a matter. Like, they got some guys like Alec Alexander seems like he's going to be decent. They have Calvin Ridley. They have Tony Pollard. Like, they have some decent players on offense. It's just the offense, feels like their offensive line is missing the edge a little bit. Defensively, other than Jeffrey Simmons, feels like they're missing some guys with some edge. I mean, it's Mike Vrabel edge is missing for sure from this team. Like, Mike Vrabel on this team, as a Colts fan, I would actually be like genuinely terrified of this team. But yeah, they're just with the leadership up top, they aren't not the most scared of them. Lions win 34-10 against the Browns. I mean, the big story from this game was the Lions were just able to run it all over them and look like the Lions. And as for the Browns, offensively, they just are having issues. Joe Flacco's not playing the greatest. We might potentially be seeing Dylan Gabriel, Shadur Sanders here soon, because I think he leads the league in interceptions. If not, he's second. I know Geno's up there with how many he just throws. Jesus. But, yeah, man, those Browns, tough. So we're for sure. I mean, I don't want to say for sure, but we're most likely probably going to see one of the rookies here soon, just with how bad Joe Flacco's been playing and how kind of stuck in the mud the offense has been. Cedric Tillman's going to miss some time with a hamstring injury now, so we should be seeing a little bit more Isaiah Bond, which would be probably cool for Browns fans. But at the same time, it just stinks. Their defense is really good, and they're going to waste it with yet another just atrocious offense. Like unless one of these rookies they can get a hit on. Yeah, it's going to be a tough time for them. Patriots win 42-13. Drake May's looking really, really good for the Panthers. They just continue to be one of those weird teams where they just look horrible in some games, like absolutely horrible. And then they beat the Falcons 30-0. Like I still don't know what to make of that. That might be outlier game of the year. We might need to start doing you know what? I might do that outlier game of the week. We might add that. You know what? I think what we're going to do is give, like, an outlier game from every week. Just, like, a game where we're going to look at the score and just be like, that just seems weird. And obviously, some weeks it's going to be bigger than others. Like, and as of right now, later in the clubhouse is for sure that Falcons to Panthers 30-0 is just like, what the hell is, like, genuinely what the hell is that at this point? But 30-0. And then they turn it. I mean, and that was, like, last week, right? Like, that wasn't 2 weeks ago. That was last week, right? Last week they won 30-0. This week they get beat 42-13, and I mean they get smacked around. The Patriots look like they're going to be good. Travion Henderson, it just would be nice to get him more snaps, please, Patriots. But they don't seem like it so far. Stephon Diggs is now playing in the slot. Apparently, he had 6 for 101, and he's just eating them alive. I mean, that was a really good game for Stephon. Drake May, like I said, Drake May's looking like he might be a guy. I mean, he still makes one play every so often that's like, okay, what the hell was that? But other than that occasional play here and there, I mean, he's looking really, really good. And he's learning on the job, too, basically. So I don't think he's been playing quarterback for, like, all that long. But he's an athlete, so he's going to figure it out, especially if you look at his family, May family, full of athletes. So, yeah, he's going to be awesome to continue to watch. And this Patriots team, man, I think they're going to be a playoff team. Probably a wild card team. Probably like a 9-8, 10-7. Might not win a game. Probably playing like the Bills or they're going to play like the Bills or we'll just say the Chiefs win that. The Chiefs probably be like the 3 seed. They'll play like number 1. They'll play like number 1 or number 2 seed. Probably end up in Buffalo, something like that. But let's see. Buccaneers, Eagles. Eagles came out to a flying hot start. They were up 24-6 going into halftime, and then I'll admit I didn't know this during the game, but immediately at halftime I bet the Buccaneers plus 18.5 because you just knew the Bucs were going to make this close. And I didn't realize this at the time, but apparently there was some really bad heat in Tampa Bay, or in Florida, which shocker, right? But apparently it was really, really hot, and it was really beating down the Eagles sideline. So, and I didn't realize that at the time of the game, but now that you hear about that, it makes a lot of sense because you really saw them start to wear down in the second half. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jalen Hurts didn't have a completion. I don't know how true that stat is, but he was at least 0 for 8 at one point on throws. I mean, offensively, the Eagles just sucked, but they were able to hold on. They even had busted coverages on defense to Ibuka and Bucky Irving, still able to hold on. Chase McLaughlin, a 65-yard field goal. That was insane to watch him draw. I think that's a record for outside, but not a record for the NFL because Tucker hit 66 in a dome. But yeah, I mean, Baker, he's just so fun to watch. Jalen Hurts, he's crazy. Jalen Hurts was 15 for 24, 132 passing touchdowns. Saquon was 19 for 43 with a touchdown. And the stats were there, but they just beat their ass. And then the stuff they did out of the toast push, tip of the cap to them. How do you stop it? They did a little shuttle pass to Goddard 2 times, and then they did a sweep to Saquon out of it. I mean, they're just going to have trick plays for this the whole time, it seems like. But this game it wasn't too shocking. This game the only thing that was kind of shocking is how the Eagles just jumped on them that early. But after that, you knew the Bucs were going to come back, make it close. It came down to the final drive. They just weren't able to get it done this time, which isn't too shocking with how good the Eagles defense is. But great game for both teams. Sucks that the Bucs have to lose it, but they were able to show some stuff, like I said. And offensively, for Chris Godwin's first game back. For the Eagles, like I said, there's just some offensive. They're starting to look like I heard, I forget what show I was listening to, but I heard somebody say they're starting to look like the Chiefs from last year, where they're just starting to they're just winning any way they win. The offense isn't the prettiest, and it's like, you can kind of see it. Chargers Giants. Shout out to Jackson Dart. Round of applause for him. He wins his first start as a rookie. I mean, obviously they aren't going to be able to play him the way that they did. I mean, that dude ran the ball a lot, and for whatever reason, he's searching for contact. Hopefully he doesn't keep doing that, or he's going to end up hurt with how big them boys are. But this was a game where the Chargers took forever to wake up. 10 a.m. Kickoff time for them, basically. Kind of showed. They were really, really, really slow to start out, and then by that point it was just too late. Joe Alt then went out, which once he went out, the pressure on Herbert makes so much sense when you think about it, because they're basically playing a lot of backups across. I mean, they have 2 backup tackles, so that just sucked for them. But overall, Jackson Dart, it was just an impressive game for him. I mean, truly impressive game for him for mainly just the juice he brought, because, I mean, he was 13 for 20 for 111 yards. And then Scattaboo had a really good game where he ran, where's it at? 25 for 79, but Jackson Dart was 10 for 54. But the thing I like is just the juice. When Jackson Dart was in there, like, the offense had some juice. I mean, it might not have been the best showing, but the boys were truly playing for him. It seemed like that place, like I said, just was alive and it had a lot more energy. So that's going to be an awesome thing for them. Quentin Johnson, man, that dude it's seeming like he's the guy now, and he's starting to, like, emerge. I mean, he's by far probably their most talented receiver on the team. I mean, Keenan Allen's older. Ladd's more technical guy. Not as physically talented as Quentin Johnson is, but 8 for 98 and a touchdown. Marion Hampton, man, 12 for 128. He had a 54-yard rushing touchdown, I believe, as well. He is starting to become a guy. It sucks that Najee got hurt, but now that Najee got hurt, Marion Hampton's starting to get that work, and it's showing that, hey, I'm a guy, feed me the rock. So that's going to be awesome for the Chargers going forward. Like I said, I just think they just took too long to start, and they gave the Giants a chance to get the lead. Once the Giants get a chance to lead, that defense can pass rush now. That defense is pretty good. So they were able to get after Justin Herbert and cause problems all day. And, yeah, that Giants under now, I'm worried about it because they're going to get another one this week, and now it's like, oh, okay. This team with Jackson Dart might be able to win some games if he can stay healthy, but we're going to have to see, man. Bears-Raiders, this game ended in sadness. I ended up taking the Raiders after the Bears went up. Personally, for me, it was sad. Took the Raiders after the Bears, and I'm sure it was sad for Raiders fans, let's be honest. Took the Raiders after the Bears went up. Then Raiders get a nice kick return. They get in the field goal range where it's like, okay, Bears might actually have a little bit of time if they make this field goal and it gets blocked. It's like, bruh. Absolutely defeating to see that for the Raiders because, man, did they waste an amazing Ashton Jeanty game. This was the Ashton Jeanty game. 21 carries, 138 yards. He had 1 touchdown. Receiving-wise, he had, where's it at? 2 receptions for 17 and 2 touchdowns. I mean, this was just an all-out amazing performance by Ashton Jeanty. And like I said, it was wasted because the Raiders ended up losing that game because Geno Smith, I mean, the Bears DBs were making some insane plays to pick off those interceptions they did, but he threw 3 interceptions and not played the best again. He just seems like he used to. It's been a lot more like big dip, back up a little bit, big dip. Because I mean that's like I said, I think he has 3 interceptions on the season now. Or sorry, he has 7, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he has 7 interceptions on the season now. Or wait, no, sorry, he only has 6. That's preseason, my bad. He only has 6. He has 6 interceptions already on the. Oh wait, I'm dumb. That's. I just read you the passing touchdowns. That's on me. He does have 7 interceptions on the season already, and it's just there's 6 passing touchdowns. It's like, dude, he is just turning the ball over a lot. It's crazy. DeAndre Swift, 14 for 38. They need to. I mean, he's not horrible. Roma Dunze, 4 for 69, a touchdown. Caleb Williams, he didn't have the best of games, but shout out to the Bears. They were able to win this game. That's impressive by them. I didn't think they'd be able to win this game, and they were able to pull it out, and they pulled it out with a nice block. That's usually, if it's the Bears, that field goal goes in, then they would get a chance. They would be on the other side of that. The Bears would be the one kicking, and would get blocked, it feels like. So that's awesome for the Bears that they were on the right side of something like this. As the Raiders better, I'm just pissed about that block. Seems like that's happening a lot lately. Chiefs win 37-20. The score is very misleading. This was just an ass beating. At this point, we don't need to talk about this game too much. Mahomes looked awesome. Lamar went out with a hammy. The Ravens, by the end of the game, apparently were missing their top 5 highest paid players on their roster at that point. The Chiefs just jumped them and kept their foot on the pedal. Mahomes had 270 and 4 passing touchdowns. And yeah, the biggest thing is the injuries. Matabike now is going on season-ending IR with his neck, which is really, really scary, and also just really sad for him. That's an awesome defender for him. They're without Kyle Van Noy. I think they're without 6 or 7 of their starting defenders. Is the stat I heard, which is like absolutely just insane at this point in the season. Now they're 1-3. Lamar. It just got announced recently that Lamar's probably not playing next week because of the hamstring. So it's just. And they have a pretty decently tough schedule. So it would benefit them next year because if they went, let's be honest, they were in last place this year. They get a really easy schedule next year, and they probably run over a lot of those teams with this roster. But for this season, this is just insane how many injuries, especially defensively. Defensively, they're just absolutely demolished with injuries, and I just don't know what they're going to do at this point. This is bad. It's just getting bad. Like I said, they're going to be without Lamar next week. That's just tough, man. Colts-Rams. Colts lose 20-27. 14 points left on the board from Adonai Mitchell. I'll give Rams credit. Rams played really, really good. That defense gave Daniel Jones hell all game. I think he threw 2 interceptions, I believe. Jonathan Taylor, 17 for 76, had a long touchdown taken away from him because Adonai Mitchell had a holding play, and before that, Adonai Mitchell it was insane, 80-yard touchdown, or like 75-yard, basically yards after catch, because after an amazing move. He basically made a nice spin move, got these guys off him, and as he's basically going to reach the ball out, fumbles it out of the back of the end zone, which you know how that goes. Second time it's happened to the Colts in 10 months. Puka Nacua, 13 for 170 and 1. That dude just went off against the Colts. He goes off against everybody, but man, he was playing really good. There's just nothing you could do to stop him. Tyler Warren had 5 for 70, and he had 1 rushing touchdown. He's starting to emerge too let's be honest, he's already been emerging, but Tyler Warren's a guy, man. I am going to look at the Rookie of the Year odds just because I want to see. I believe I got him at, I'll have to check. I don't remember what I got him at. We'll talk. Like I said, I do want to check that out. So we might end up peaking a little bit because, yeah. And then, like I said, Jonathan Taylor should have had a touchdown and a lot more rushing yards, but you got to take it. The Adonai Mitchell plays were just so frustrating because it's like, man, 14 points off the board. And then they ended up losing because of it. But, yeah, not too mad about the loss. Both these teams, Matt Stafford threw for 375 and 3, by the way. That guy can still throw it. As long as he stays healthy, this Rams team is going to be legit. Especially since they're starting to use Blake Corum a little bit more at the beginning of the season now. I think they're saving Kyron Williams' legs for as the season goes on. Which goes to show you that, hey, if they stay healthy, this is a team that thinks they can make a long, long run. So, both these teams are good. Not a bad loss for the Colts. Just sucks because that's a game they really could have stolen. And, man, being 4-0 would have been insane, especially with the Jags beating the 49ers, which is just shocking. Jags win 26-21. 49ers just played bad. They played horrible that game. Brock Purdy turned the ball. The story for that game is the Jags did enough to win the game, and Brock Purdy turned the ball over way too much for them to win the game. They literally got the stop. They get the ball back to be able to do something. Brock Purdy gets strip sack fumbled. He had 2 interceptions, I believe 1 or 2 fumbles as well. Trevor Lawrence didn't play the best, but he played good enough to win. The run game for Jacksonville looks amazing. The pass game, they still need to figure some stuff out. And then, like I said, the 49ers give up a punt return as well when they're able to finally, hey, if they can just get a stop, they're still in the game. Frustrating game for 49ers now, and then Brock Purdy's questionable now for Thursday against the Rams. So you're looking at this team like, man, what is going on with them? Are they going to be all right? But we'll have to see because they're still first. That's their first loss. They're 3-1. But I will lie to you. That's one of those losses where it's like, man, what the hell is going on with this team? Yeah, again, it's only week 4. Maybe we're overreacting a bit, but keep an eye on them because especially with this Purdy injury because it's starting to become a real issue. As for the Monday night game, Jets-Dolphins, this one ended up becoming a bit of a thriller. Dolphins were up 10-7 going into half, or 10-3, going into the half, and then they scored another 14 points. They ended up going up 24-21 10. And then the Jets, I mean, Justin Field had an amazing run. I mean, he is just, it's watching him in the open field is awesome. I could watch it all day. I mean, him in the open field is just, it's insane how fast he moves and like how athletic he really, really is. And he was just able to run for 43-yard touchdown. Darren Waller, shout out to him coming back. Sorry, I was just dropped my pen again. But shout out to Darren Waller for, he looked, well, I think he only had 27 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. He looked good in his debut this season. Devon Achane had 99 rushing yards and a touchdown. But those Darren Waller touchdowns were good. I was trying to avoid it. I guess we should just talk about it now. The Tyreek Hill injury, absolutely heartbreaking. I didn't talk about the Giants either, so let's talk about them both now. I was going to save them for the news, and I can't hold off anymore. Malik Neighbors, IR, torn ACL, out for season. It was just so heartbreaking to watch. Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill sucked, man. I want to get the exact, I don't want to get the prognosis wrong, so I want to say exactly what Ian said when it comes to him. I mean, that was a sad injury for Tyreek, man. Absolutely crushing. So yeah, Tyreek Hill dislocated his knee. He also tore multiple ligaments in his knee, including his ACL. He underwent surgery. And yeah, like I said, it was a gross injury. And at first I didn't even realize it was Tyreek Hill. You watch the guy go down, and you're just like, and I won't lie to you, you saw him go down, and it's like you saw the way his leg was looking, it's like, oh man, it's not supposed to look like that. And it's like, I just laughed because it's just like, it was like shocking. Like it was just, it was crazy because you're just looking at it, it's like, oh, it's really not supposed to have been like that. And then it's like, oh wait, is that Tyreek Hill? It was just absolutely crushing. Like I said, to lose him and Malik Neighbors in the same day, especially in a game where Tyreek Hill's kind of struggled all season a little bit, and that was a game where finally looked like he was starting to get it going. And yeah, it's absolutely crushing because who knows what his... I'm not going to say this is a career-changing injury because I don't want to be that dramatic, but he's not probably coming back for the start of 2026. Like he's gone for a year and then some, so it's going to be long road to recovery, so hopefully he'll be okay. And shout out to him for the long road to recovery because, yeah, that is absolutely brutal injury he had. And then we'll talk about this game. Broncos win 28-3 against the Bengals. I won't lie to you. I didn't even realize it. This is one of those moments where you're best way to describe it. So, you know, when you're just basically, you're kind of tired, but not too tired. So you're just saying that you're still staying there, like watching something, doing something, and all of a sudden you like doze off, but then you wake up and you're like, oh, I probably just missed like 5 minutes, or whatever. It's like, oh, I missed like 30 minutes. That basically happened to me in the fourth quarter. I just remember at one point there was like 14 minutes left, and I was like, okay. Because I'm not going to lie to you, man. The Bengals put me to sleep. Their offense is just bad. That offensive line just can't protect for anything, so it makes their offense bad, especially with Joe Burrow out, which it just sucks to say. But it was like I said, it's one of those moments where I'm basically, it's like 14 minutes left. It's like, all right. Just laying on my couch sideways, you know, just watching the game. Next thing you know, I kind of look up. I believe there's like, I think literally the Broncos are like taking a knee, or it's basically like them getting the ball back for the final drive. I'm like, wait. There's just like 14 to 11 minutes on the clock. Wait, what? And then I was like, oh, okay, the game's over. And I literally missed basically nothing. I missed a touchdown by R.J. Harvey. But yeah, the Bengals just, with no offensive line, they can't do any. They just can't do anything, man. They just legitimately cannot do anything because they don't have enough time to block. So that without enough time to block, they have no time to protect. Apparently, this is not. I don't know how true this is, but this just got talked about recently on the Pat McAfee show. Dan Orlovsky was saying that based on what he's seen from the Zach Taylor scheme, it is kind of not offensive line friendly. And them saying it's not offensive line friendly makes a lot of sense because they mentioned on the Pat McAfee show all these offensive linemen that the Bengals have gone through that are like good linemen. They were good linemen at one point, and then they just go there and absolutely suck. And then it's like, I mean, it's starting to make sense that maybe, yeah, that scheme just can't deal with offensive linemen as good as it can. Apparently, at this point, yeah, he also said, Dan did that Zach Taylor's scheme and everything has completely, like, Zach Taylor has his own scheme from Sean McVay. Like, he is from the Sean McVay tree, but at this point, it's Zach Taylor's own thing. So then it's like, he's fighting for his job, man. That's all I know. That's going to be... That's a tough one. So if we had to go outlier game of the week, which game do we think was the weirdest? We didn't talk about this game, the Sunday Night Football game. I forgot about it. The 40-40 tie. I mean, I'm just disgusted with the tie. Why is there a tie? Micah Parsons' return. It was a pretty good back and forth fair. No defensive played. Honestly, there's not too much to talk about in this game. It's a good offensive effort by both teams. Defense basically didn't show up. Tie sucked. Shout out to George Pickens. He looked awesome. Romeo Dobbs, he looked awesome with his 3 touchdowns. Josh Jacobs looked awesome on the ground. No defense was played in this game. Absolutely no defense. Like I said, the outlier game of the week, I probably want to go that 40-40. That might be the game as of right now. Like I said, Commanders-Falcons, we didn't talk about that, but Falcons won 34-27. I didn't get too much eyes on this game, not going to lie. I did watch it on Red Zone, but it was one of those games where I'll admit Red Zone had it in the background, so I didn't get too much eyes on it, so I don't want to talk about it too much. But one of those games where the Falcons are at home, they played really, really well. We'll have to see how they play on the road. Probably not as well because that's been their trend lately. But could be wrong. Chiefs game. Jaguars look legitimate. I wouldn't say it's that game. Patriots Panthers 42-13. I don't think that's too much of an outlier. Yeah, we'll just go with the 40-40 game. All right, because I generally don't think too. I mean, because that just feels like I feel like overtime added a field goal, so. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. Most of the games don't feel like they were too outlier-ish. Most of these games feel somewhat like, that makes sense, that makes sense, that makes sense. I'll say that Packers 40, Cowboys 40, that just, for me, I guess that is a decent one because I'm just looking at it like, man. What? But that'll do it for the scores and everything. Let's see if there's any news I missed before we talk about the final thing I want to talk about, which is some of those futures. We talked about Tyreek Hill. Sauce Gardner came out and said that he's getting penalized more because the Jets are losing. I wonder if that's true. Genuinely, I have no idea of that stat, but that'd be interesting to see like a case study if you're able to look into that history and be like, man, these losing teams get a lot more calls against them. We talked about that. Brock Purdy dealing with a sore toe ahead of Thursday Night Football, so he may or may not play. Giants co-owner Mara is dealing with cancer. He recently released that, so hopefully he is okay, because we can all agree cancer sucks. Malik Neighbors, that was depressing, man. Texans are sending Cam Robinson to the Browns. It's a swap of a late 2027 round draft picks. The Browns were in need of a tackle because they lost DeJuan Jones to a season-ending injury in Week 3. He was inactive, so yeah, this was a move that was going to be made anyway. So, interesting with how bad their offensive line is playing. If they sent him out, that makes me wonder. Makes me wonder if it's their scheme or if he's how good he is. Bad Bunny got announced for the halftime show. Oh, a lot of you, I'm kind of indifferent on it. I don't think it'll be horrible, but it's just like, okay. I'll admit, I just didn't expect Bad Bunny, so I'm not mad about it, just indifferent. But it's not like it's a whatever thing to me. It's not like I care too much indifferent. It's just like it should be okay. Oh, so I guess we talked about it in the news. I didn't get to it yet. Stephen Kent, let's see. I think Browns face more QB questions after benching Fleck. I understand the question, especially when we are struggling the way we are on offense, but that's not our focus right now. To have any success either ball, you need to play well and play together. Right now, we have too many things. I don't know if Joe Flacco got benched necessarily. I'm trying to figure that out. But special teams, I don't think Gabriel officially got announced yet, but I think there's a chance that, Gabriel's probably going to be the first one they get called to if he does go in, but I am not too sure. I'm gonna look that up real quick because that article, I'm not gonna lie to you, that was not. Whoever wrote that, no offense to them, they did not write very well. Okay, so they're just considering Dylan Gabriel. Okay, so there's a chance. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it. Because, yeah, I'm not... The way they wrote that left me more confused about it than anything, honestly. I think that's going to do it for the news, though. I think we pretty much covered everything. This was something that this is the last thing I want to talk about. Tyreek Woolen's going to get traded potentially, which is crazy because I was reading apparently the Seahawks room, DB room is so deep that they're going to move on from Tyreek Woolen and go a little bit younger, which for them means that they're probably going to get a decently good haul for him. But yeah, let's go over to that betting market real quick and see some of these odds, just to see kind of like. Mainly I want to check out the Rookie of the Year for offense, mainly for my Colts fandom, but we'll talk about some other small ones real quick. And I'm not going to go over like every single odd. I'm going to go over probably the top 3 of the ones I choose from. So we'll go, as of right now for Super Bowl, it's Bills plus 440, Eagles plus 600, Packers plus 850. We want to go to... MVP, it's Josh Allen minus 105, Herbert plus 600, Mahomes plus 650. I mean, Herbert's dropped. He was like plus 850 just last week, so he keeps going down. Offensive Player of the Year, Puka Nacua plus 260, JT, Jonathan Taylor plus 400, Bijan Robinson is plus 550, Aiden Hutchinson's plus 360, Micah's plus 360, Myles Garrett's plus 360, and Nick Menino's plus 1,000 for Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Mecca Buka's plus 250, Action Gentry's plus 380, plus 450 for Dart, plus 500 for Hampton. Damn! So Tyler Warren... Damn! Okay, so yeah, the Tyler Warren bet's not going to hit now. He dropped to plus 1,200. That's not even what I got on that. Abdul Carter's plus 150, Jahad Campbell's plus 340, plus 600 for Carson Schweissinger. But, man, James Sykin plus 450 for the Coach of the Year. Okay, interesting. Liam Cohen's in second place. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm pissed about that. Man, I was so excited about the Tyler Warren stuff. Yeah, because I got it like plus 900, plus 1,000. I think I jumped on the odds, not realizing that all the rookies were going to have great weeks this week. Because a lot of rookies played really well this week, genuinely. But, let's talk about the college. We'll just run through some scores real quick. Talk some games. Yeah, talk some games I had eyes. Florida State loses in double overtime to Virginia. That was kind of a shocker. That one wide receiver, I think it was Squirrel White's his name, looked like he got absolutely ran over by the crowd during the field storm. So that was an absolutely crazy video to watch. But Florida State, they end up losing that game, so that's a tough for them. They end up dropping behind Alabama. And we'll talk about this in the AP poll. But not gonna lie to you, not a total fan of them being behind Alabama when they beat Alabama, but they people also is just for TV damn near at this point. TCU is 20. They were ranked 24, but I think they aren't ranked anymore. They lost to Arizona State 27-24. That was a heartbreaker. They were up 17-0, I believe, and blew that. Notre Dame, they went 56-13. Jeremiah Love, he had 4 touchdowns the first half, and they just beat the piss out of Arkansas on Lou Holtz Day. So bad, Sam Pittman got fired after this game. I will say, some college football guys I love listening to, they talked about how they potentially waited 5 games to make sure that all the kids stayed on the roster and didn't redshirt and everything. That would be pretty dirty, but from the way these guys were talking, that's something that a lot of smart coaches are doing, or not even coaches, smart organizations or universities are doing, where basically it's like, hey, we're going to fire these guys after like 5 games so that way we can at least get these guys guaranteed to play the rest of the season for us, not just redshirt, and then we don't get them for the year. Kansas State gets a massive win over UCF. They really needed that for them. Louisville beats Pitt 34-27. Duke just absolutely destroys Syracuse. So yeah, without Angeli, it's gonna be tough for that team. Illinois, they win 34-32 over USC. They won by a field goal. It was homecoming for them. Awesome win there. Georgia Tech wins 30-29 over Wake Forest. Wake Forest went for 2 and didn't get it. That was a game that was really scary for Georgia Tech, where arguably they probably should have lost it. They definitely, it was crazy. They had a guy jump off sides. He clearly jumped off sides. Refs did not call it at all. If he would have called it, Wake Forest would have got a first down. They would have won the game. Instead, game ends up going to overtime. Georgia Tech escapes with a win. Because, yeah, that was a game where they, like I said, should have lost, but they hang on the win. Cincinnati was able to finally win a close game. They beat Kansas 37-34. Utah State, we almost won that nasty boy, man. Another one we missed out on. But Utah State ended up kicking in the back door for us against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt wins 55-35, though. First time in forever, they're 5-0. College game day's going down to Tuscaloosa. Vandy, Bama next week. That should be a fun one. That should be a really fun game. Northwestern beats UCLA. In what world do we live in that that's actually a thing? That's UCLA, how the mighty have fallen, man. Holy hell. Ole Miss ends up beating LSU 24-19. Massive win for Ole Miss, who, with the rest of their schedule being as easy as it is, looks like they might have a chance to do something. Indiana wins 20-15 over Iowa. If you had Indiana minus 6.5, I know you're absolutely sick. 2 seconds left on the game. Mendoza runs backwards. He could slide at the 20-yard line. There's no time left at this point. Instead, he runs to the end zone. Clock runs out. They basically give up an extra 2 points. So Indiana wins, but like I said, if you had the minus 6.5, you're absolutely sick. Ohio State was 24-6, and they absolutely, for how slow of a start it was for them, they played amazing to finish it out against Washington. Texas A&M went 16-10 over Auburn. One of the games that lost are nasty boy. I think Utah covered the over themselves. They beat West Virginia 48-14. Once West Virginia lost Jaheim White, and first off, Nico didn't play in this game, but they don't have the best of quarterbacks, so this was a situation that, yeah, that West Virginia over is probably cooked at this point. Especially if they lost one of the games they needed to win, and I don't know if they're gonna win 4 more games at this point. They don't have the roster this year. They're going to be really, really good next. I don't want to say really, really good, but they're going to be decently good, I think, next year. It just seems like, yeah, this year they're just overmatched a little bit. Hawaii wins 44-35 over Air Force. Gets a nice cover for us there. Even though they went outright, to be honest. Iowa State destroys Arizona, so that's a tough one for them. NC State lost to Virginia Tech. I actually didn't even see the score until just now. That's actually disgusting. Man, that's a horrible, horrible loss for NC State. That's going to keep them. I mean, I doubt they're going to make the college football playoffs to begin with, but absolutely have no chance now. Penn State, Oregon. Oregon ends up pulling out of double overtime. They win 30-24. Bama, they win 24-21. They went into halftime with the score. They ended with that score. Those were two great games to watch during the night by just 4 teams that there's a good chance we'll probably see them at the end of the year. Alabama, though, looking like the best team in the SEC potentially. I think Ohio State's still probably the best team in the Big Ten, if I had to guess. I mean, Oregon is up there. But when it comes to the SEC this year, it just seems like Alabama. I don't know, though. Maybe they just have Georgia's number. It could just be that, too. And then BYU, they win 24-21 over Colorado. Let's look at that top 25 before we get out of here, and just give some thoughts on that. Ohio State's 1, Oregon 2, the U 3, Ole Miss 4, Oklahoma 5, Texas A&M 6, Penn State 7, Indiana 8. So out to them. Texas 9, Bama 10, Texas Tech 11, 12 Georgia, LSU, Iowa State, Tennessee. 16 is Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech 17, Florida State, Missouri, Michigan's 20, 21 Notre Dame, Illinois 22. BYU 23, Virginia hopping in at 24, and drops out. The TCU drops out. Arizona State comes in at good old 25. Man, the SEC's getting interesting. Like Missouri 5-0, Vanderbilt 5-0. Like there's going to be some teams where it's like, hey, are we going to get like a Alabama-Missouri SEC title game? We're getting situations like that. Big Ten it's looking like it's probably going to be Oregon, Ohio State. I don't think they play each other. So unless like Ohio State loses one of these other big games and one of the other Big Ten teams stay undefeated, that's probably what we're headed to. I mean, maybe Indiana could be the team, but I think they play both of those teams, so that's going to be a tough test for them. Regardless, though, this next upcoming week of college games looks like it could be potentially fun. Let's look ahead to week 6. It's crazy that we're already at the. Isn't week 14 Army Navy? No, week 14 is. Week 16 is Army Navy. So yeah, we're a week away from being at the halfway point of the season already. This This shit goes by too quick, man. But BYU, West Virginia, that could get ugly. Clemson, North Carolina should be interesting. Illinois, Purdue for the little rivalry there. Vanderbilt, Bama, like we talked about, should be a fun one. Virginia, Louisville could be sneaky good. Maryland, Washington could be a sneaky good Big Ten game. Texas, Florida, I'm just interested in see how that battle. TCU, Colorado could be a good game. The Miami versus Florida State. Game day probably goes to Florida State if they don't lose that game. It's like Duke, Cal. I'm just interested to see if Cal can get the upset there. That's probably going to be one of my bets this week, to be honest. But, yeah, those are some of the games I'm looking forward to. Not the best slate next week when it comes to big games. Just not too many, but thank you all for watching. Thanks for support. Really do appreciate it. I'll be back in this feed tomorrow to do Pick'em Thursdays on a Wednesday. Man, it's been fun this year. It's been fun. Football season's just now, basically. We're officially past the first quarter of the season. So, and especially in the NFL. We're about at the halfway point in college of the regular season. For the NFL, we just passed the first quarter. 25% through the regular season, and man, shit's been fun. So I'll see everyone, like I said, back in this feed tomorrow to go over Pick'em, talk everything week 5 of NFL, week 6 of college. Man, going by too quick, man.